Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 217, and today we're going to be doing Battle in the Gauntlet. And so, if you're wanting to just skip ahead to the gameplay, today we're going to be playing Yordles and Arms, we're going to play Draven, Sion, Vi, and we're going to play Winding Light Aphelios. And so, the kind of idea that we have with the lineup today, this is something that you used to see maybe like 2 seasonals ago, right? That's back when Baboon was in his prime. He had his full 3 attack and was quite the menace on the format. And so, I'm pretty sure it was about 2 seasonals ago, 3 as well, but it really ramped up 2 ago, I think. And that was when, again, like the Aphelios decks were running around in full force. They were closing out with the Winding Light. The Winding Light since got nerfed because of it. You saw the Yordles and Arms decks. The Yordles and Arms since got nerfed. And then you also had things like Draven, Sion, Vi. To where Sion has been tuned around a little bit, and then things like the Twin Blade Disciple, whatever the discard 8-cost card thing is, catching a bit of a nerf as well. And so they were all extremely, extremely strong strategies, right? I wouldn't say that they got nerfed into oblivion, but they got nerfed to that smaller win rate. And so I'm really kind of curious to see as the land of worlds is coming up upon us, if the triple boom baboon strategy could be worthwhile, could be useful, or if it's just more of a function of Jinx being extremely good, and then the boom baboon package is the best way to support Jinx. And so we'll take a peek. Let's give it a go. Let's give it a see. To pull up the deck lists real quick, I won't talk about them in full force. If you're wanting to see Lulu Jinx in action, we did a video on this one 2 or 3 days ago. That should be out there and up there for you. The only differences between that video and this one, we talked about cutting a copy of Fizz for Jinx. We went ahead and did that, and then we removed the 3rd copy of Sneezy Biggledust. It felt like just too many. And I added in a copy of Rummage to help us dig for the burn package at the end of the game. And so this is what you would kind of classically call the Yordles and Arms deck, using the Lulu plus Boom Baboon combo to get that early Flame Chompers big challenge on the board, and then closing out the game with the Elusives. Deck number 2, we're playing... Oh, God, it's the wrong deck list. Dang it. Hang on. There we go. This is the right one. Draven, Sion, Vi. I like to take this to be the really aggressive version of the deck, the really aggressive form. And so with this one, we do play the 3 copies of Legion Rearguard along with the full 3 burn spell package. The kind of downside to Draven, Sion, Vi right now for me was the nerf to the 2 mana equipment unit, the Ionian Hookmaster. That makes it a little bit more challenging to get Overwhelm onto your Vi. And so that's why we're bringing in the single copy of Great Hammers to give her that additional kind of guaranteed Overwhelm outlet. But otherwise, a fairly standard version of the Draven, Sion, Vi, but admittedly more geared towards the aggressive end of the spectrum. The last deck is the Aphelios Viktor, and this is what you would call the Winding Light deck, right? We're going to just sit around and play a big value game in the early game. We have all of these card generators between the Dustbringers and the Flame Chompers and the Boom Baboon and the Pharaoh's Fanciers and the like. That is a great way to fuel your Aphelios. And then that gives you the time you need to get the full board and then amp up that board with the Winding Light. The big and new difference that we have from this one than the days of old is we've included the Fan Club President. Unfortunately, she costs 5 mana now, but this is a card that is, again, quite powerful, a big value play for these games that are grinding on. And then for the meme value, we're bringing Give It All. I don't think Give It All is probably what lives in the most competitive version of this deck, but... this is definitely going to be the funnest spell that we play on the day. So I'm definitely glad to have a copy of it in here. And so that's the lineup. That's what we're bringing today. I've checked the pay-to-win price, and man, we play a lot of these cards frequently, and so it's been paid in here. It's paid in full. We are ready to go. So the Baboon Fan Club, ready to go. Baboons in Biggledust. Pool Party Baboons. Ready for battle. Let's head on in. All right, so what do we got here? Just mono Aurelian Soul. I love it. I want to see it. We got what looks to be some kind of Sun Disk kind of number. We can deal with that just fine, and we'll just ban out whatever this mono Shadow Isles deck is. I'm not quite sure to the level of control deck that's going to be coming out of that, but that is the one that does give me the most worry and the most pause. And so here, I want to lead off with our Jinx Lulu deck. I think the Jinx deck is just the strongest one of the bunch, and so I'm going to play it if we get the opportunity. Okay, so hang on to some of this discard stuff. We'll get rid of the scrap heap, hang on to the urchin and the poro cannon. I didn't take the time to stop and talk about the deck list earlier. If you want like the more in-depth guide on this deck, you can scroll back a little bit in the channel and see the commentary there. But when you're seeing the scrap heaps, and the thing with this deck is I really want to maximize our high-powered plays. The biggest high-powered play we can do with this thing is having a turn 3 to where we have a Lulu and we have a Flame Chompers on the board. And so if we have to play the Baboon on turn 2, and then we want to play Lulu on turn 3, then we're going to have to use one of those spells to get the Flame Chompers on the board. And that's why you're seeing Scrap Heap. You can still use Scrap Heap to get these cheap Lulus into action. Or you get the Flame Chompers into action, I should say. All right. Little bit of a problem with the Hierophant, but I think we have to just come in and slam the damage. We can't just sit around and wait. We can't give the Sun Disc deck time. He's going to get the good block onto the Lulu. That's okay. We can still come in and clear out this board. But this is one of the matchups that, that the Yordles and Arms deck was kind of classically good against. They just don't have a way to deal with what you're doing, right? We know that we can probably safely play Jinx and not have her die here. And so they just weren't really good at interacting with our game plan, and then it was quite easy to kill them with a big Poro Cannon Yordles at Arms. And so I think we'll be okay here. The only answer they typically have to Jinx would be to do the destroy a landmark for damage thing, but he's not playing Xerath. He's playing the combat version of Sundisk, so I think our Jinx would ultimately be pretty safe. Let's see. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to drop down a Poro. I want to see if he like taps out for Renekton or something here. We do have an opportunity to maybe get Jinx on the board. These make it kind of awkward as well in the Sand Soldiers, so I think we can look to just get our elusives down and then move towards the burn plan. So he's got 4 blockers. We have 4 ground-based units. We're not getting damage in that way. We'll just hit with the 2 elusives and then try and build up a burn package. Come on, bud. Got a cat. You got a cat that wants to hang out. Let's see. We'll see if he makes his way up here. But yeah, once he gets through this combat, I think we should be pretty safe, right? We have a pretty good way to get Jinx on board. We should be generating Death Rockets this turn. We should be able to get another Death Rocket next turn. I think we're going to be in a decent position to close this game down. So the question here is going to be, do we actually want to kill this Renekton and take this, or do we want to take this big bunch of damage? And I worry only sending 5 damage at Renekton that opponent could realistically like combat trick out of this. They might be playing Shape Stone. They might be playing something. Just doesn't feel super worth going after the Renekton here. All right. How do we want to get the rest of this stuff down? We need, what is that? 9 mana? That's exactly what we have. Oh, we can't even Death Rocket this turn? That's kind of lame. Kind of lame. Guess we could, if we don't get excited, we could cut 1 off of the mana. I don't think I'm excited about that either. I wonder if he ever has Siphoning Strike. Ew, that would be gross. Okay, let's take it a little slower. All right, try and get this blocker off of the board. Then we can send the Get Excited to the face. We can drop a Poro if we want. Just don't think we want to get Jinx down while he has this 5 mana hanging out. Wonder how much we have to worry about Rite of Negations coming from this guy. Might be a worry. Might be a concern. And Lulu. I'm interested in getting Lulu on the board because she lets us deal extra damage with these elusives. So let's drop her in and see what happens. I do worry about getting killed next turn by Renekton. So he hasn't done anything. We could potentially Flame Chompers the Renekton and then try and kill him with a Death Rocket. But the perk here is like the 4, the 4, and the 4, right? We get 4 with the Poro, we get 4 with the Death Rocket this turn, and 4 with the Death Rocket next turn. That should end the game, assuming we don't die. All right. All right. We're going for the kill. We're going for the big time. Okay. The shenanigans weren't too large there. We didn't see any quicksands come down, and you know, there's still a world to where this Renekton can't OTK us, so hopefully we're in a good shape. Still have a bunch of burn spells in our deck. Maybe the Death Rocket gets there next, or maybe we pick up a burn spell next turn as well. All kinds of awesome things that could happen. All right, got him to 1. Scary stuff, guys. Scary stuff. Treasured trash. Not a good one to see when you're trying to generate death rockets. I think we're gonna be okay here, but when that first card to come up was the treasured trash, I was like, oh no, that's not good. All right, GG. We made it through, barely. All right, on with the Viktor Aphelios. Versus the Sun Disk again. All right. So what do we got? Nice early game stuff. I'll hang on to 1 Duskbringer and then just look for a little bit more of the value package. I don't really want a ton of those in the early game. Opponent seems to have pretty reasonable blockers here. So many cards out of these decks. The Fancier used to be a 2/2. The Baboon used to be a 3/1. What did you do to all the value cards, Riot? And then as we play all these things, who wants to stop and think about our friend Seraphine? Hey guys, look at all these 2-cost cards we had to nerf because they provided too much stats for their value. Hey guys, let's print Seraphine. What a joke. What a joke, Riot. All right, but we don't have a real reason to press too hard for this Aphelios here. Let's see what opponent does. We can still look to bank mana into next turn and get him down, and I think that's probably where we're at this point. We can look to start playing the 3 damage onto the Chronomancer. It's not a good spot to just be slamming dudes in. Alright, so we'll go for the Aphelios, take the 3 damage. Turns out he has a unit that has 3 health. We'll leave the 2 health one on board. Not worried about that guy. But let's kill the one that's going to be causing us problems. And then pick up double stun on the back end. Now with this, I suspect we need to just open attack here. If he adds that big... Renekton or a big Azir to the board, we're not going to be able to attack into it particularly well. And so let's just go ahead and chunk in the damage while we can. We do have the Give It All in hand to try and build up to. And so if we get an elusive or something on board, we could look towards that for a bit of strength. But let's see. All right, Hail Cascade, you're gone. Picked up Viktor. We can start dropping him next turn, but I was wanting to hit the moon weapon for the turn. So we're just going to cycle through a bit until it turns up. Here's the Winding Light. That can change our tune for what's about to happen. Now as long as we can just build up to a big board, then we can crush with the Give It All. Alright, so yeah, here's what we're looking to do. We'll add Viktor. You've been added. We'll play the Hex Core upgrade. That's going to put the spell into our hand, the Aphelios weapon. We'll have the 2 mana banked up, and the next turn we can use the Crescendum as the spell, the Winding Light, to follow up with. Should get us pretty close to the lethal, regardless of how much shenanigans opponent does here. But don't really want to be losing units here. I want to go into next turn and then deal the damage back with Overwhelms. This is another kind of scary spot, right? He has this big Renekton on board. He has this Ruin Runner on board, but he's going to have to put in a lot of work to try and stop what we're doing. And then we have a bit of protection next turn in that we have the Get Excited in hand. If we don't quite close out the game here, we can try for Get Excited, and then we could also look to kill off a Ruin Runner if that's what it takes, if we're really that far away from lethal damage.
Give them something to remember.
Alright, send the squad in.
You lost? Some help, please? No time for this. Strike me! You're in my way.
Alright, good stuff. And so, we didn't get the lethal, but we really cleared out the board. We're still going to have a strong collection of dudes. Ooh, I forgot it. That Renekton flip might be problematic, though. If he gets to attack with Renekton and get the +3/+3, I didn't really put that one on the old radar. Maybe this will be bad. Play cards. That's all you gotta say, right? You just say, hey, play cards. Play cards, dude. Alright. Oh my gosh, we're watching the whole movie. It's been so long. It's been so long since we've watched the whole movie. Okay, okay. I don't know if I missed the days or not when the biggest thing I had to bitch about was watching all the Sundisk movies happen at once. I think I very much preferred movie time as opposed to the Seraphine meta. All right, we got a fan club president and see if we can't stun out of this or something. If it survives, stun it. All right. Well, there's our potential chance to stop big boy Renekton here. I don't think we can stop the rest of this board, though. That's that's a pretty big collection of dudes. All right. Well, maybe we should have gone harder on old Renekton here. We got 3 blockers, though. Is that enough? Is that enough to not die?
Are you going to the show?
We fall to 1. I deck, deliver something. we got 5 burn in hand. We just need to find 3. Okay. Okay. He doesn't have like weird ways to attack or something, does he? No, doesn't seem to be the case. All right, let's start with Reg. Give an ally in hand +8/+8. Does that ever do it? Do we have anything with this? Just too expensive.
It's an awesome day for progress.
It's got them all. All right, we'll add in Viktor. We're going to hit elusive right here. Are you ready for it? Are you ready? Elusive. One time dealer. What you got? What you got? Here it comes. Here it comes. Lifesteal. Not quite what we wanted. All right, Severum. Oh, that's Severum. That's not the summon a unit one. Okay. We got 2 more Get Exciteds in our deck. Let's go for it. Let's go. Let's do it. Ah, 1 drop. Okay. GG. GG, Sundisk. All right. On to battle with Aurelion Soul. That hot Targon on Targon action. Let's see if it's enough. Dude's out here trying to make me do math and stuff. It's so hard. It's so hard. Probably needed a pee break after that. When you sit around and watch that 5-minute movie, you gotta you gotta take a break. Your popcorn gets cold, your drink gets watered down. You gotta pull up that website that tells you when the good time to go pee during your movie is. Alright, but what do we got here? We got a Boom Baboon. We'll start with you. Let's see what else we can find here. Not really sure what we're going to be running into against Mono Targon Aurelion Soul. But I'm interested in finding out. Alright, doing invoke stuff. I feel you. Alright, I'm going to look to get just as much dudes as we can on the board. I feel like we're going to need to be doing some attacking here, and so I'm not going to let this Mentor the Stone stick around. I'll kill it before the combat happens. Say no thank you. So you can't do your supports with no units. Can't play gems when you don't have units. Let's get rid of your units. Get him gone real good. And Viktor turns up. Nice.
We were peaceful once.
Join the glorious evolution.
Perfect
Alright, Nightfall and some stuff.
with them.
I don't get it. Nightfall guiding touch. Maybe it was a misclick. Hey, Viktor picking up the spell shield. He's ready to party now. Definitely ready to party. Is this just where we want to open though? I think so. This gets us like really well set up for the lethal on our next attack. He hasn't done anything. Like, I can't imagine he's going to add something scary to the board across these next couple of turns. And then just building up to the Winding Light, we can very easily refill our board if he starts casting spells on our stuff. So I'm not super worried about it. Kind of would like to get this Herald of Dragons off the board, though. So I want to hang on to the Winding Light. Let's just come in with Reggie. See if we'd rather discard one of these. Probably not. Alright, discard a card. That all seems reasonable, right? We just need to bank 1 mana next turn. So we can Winding Light open on... Well, we don't have to bank, right? We'll be at 7 mana on that following turn anyways. Ew. Golden Sister's kinda nasty.
Lunari, rise.
Yeah, we can't throw away Reggie. You're too important. You're one of our favorite units, my friend. We'll let you stick around. Take the damage from the rest of this stuff. We can get our daring on board now and open with the Winding Light. Hopefully that's enough to bring us victory. So much different without the Winding Light having Overwhelm anymore, though. He's tapped out now, so we don't have to worry about as much. He can put a gem down on something, but let's slow our roll a bit. We can't, like, burst level up Viktor. We're never going to just get him. So let's at least drop this dum-dum first and get these extra points of stats before we send in the squad. Lifesteal, cool. Okay.
Witness divinity.
I have to move that Eclipse Dragon onto Viktor. There you go.
Insolence. You are beneath me.
I don't know about these blocks, man. Seems like you want to get Viktor off of the board. Okay. All right. Not the worst spot to be in. It would be a lot cooler if we got a lethal, but no complaints. I miss you having overwhelmed the Winding Light. Those were the good days.
They forced us to choose death.
All right, but we could pretty easily get a full board here again. We'll drop down the old Aphelios. Get ourselves a spell. Where you at? Where you at? There we go. Take the summons. Opponent says too much. GG bust, you did us in good. Alright, not bad.
Through unwavering faith, the moon is
Alright, next battle. So what do we got? Teemo, what up, my man? What up, my dude? There's the old Teemo, some kind of Garen Lux deck, and then I assume this is going to be some kind of aggressive Elise deck. That's what I'm going to cut out here. I worry a little bit about what can come out of Garen, right? A lot of our decks here don't play well just into big units, but if it's on like the Mage Seeker side, I don't think it's that bad. I don't think I'm ever banning out Teemo. Like playing triple Mystic Shot deck against Teemo just sounds exceptionally good. Just I worry about the aggro number here. I feel like we can probably just do okay against Garen. All right, good stuff. All right, well, so how do we want to go about this? I think we just want to full mulligan. I know we can play all this stuff early, but I'm looking for the Boom Baboon package and the Lulus, and I would like to find either a Mystic Shot or a Pokey Stick. And so I'd like to just put in a little bit of effort to taking this Teemo out of action. And it looks like we found it. We got all the tools one could need. The Poro Cannons, the Boom Baboons, it's all here. You know what's not here? Teemo. Teemo's not here. Maybe he's just building up to that big Teemo with a stress defense so that he doesn't get boomed directly by the pokey stick. Okay. We're going to want to open attack next turn. Let's just go ahead and get the rest of the units on the board. Get our really high-powered 5 damage attack in. Strongest attack 2022 coming at you. Look out, bro. It's 5 damage. Alright. Alright. We got to find something. He is letting us draw some extra cards, so we at least have an advantage in that sense. Here's a big boy. I want to join your party, Yordle Captain. Oh, do we get to discard the Flame Chompers? Oh, we picked up a big ol' dust as a... How sick is this going to be? If we get the opponent giving us the free discard onto a Flame Chomper. Didn't quite come together, but that had the potential for awesomeness. Alright, I would like to go ahead and rummage here soon. Opponent hasn't, like, nailed us with the puff cap, so like, I feel like that was a real high roll with him hitting for the amount that he did. But I want to just like, go ahead and, like, if we have to draw cards while we have 5 puff caps in our deck, or if we have to draw cards when we have 30, we would rather have that smaller one, right? And so let's just go ahead and rummage now. Here comes Teemo. I'm ready for Teemo. No, just no, never. Never, not allowed. But I would like to get more stats on board. We gotta punch in something here with an opponent having Professor Von Yip, and so things get a little bit different with the Yordle Captain. I was looking to add a unit immediately last turn, but now that we can get these +2/+2s onto our squad, really high-powered Poro Cannons coming in.
We made it.
I don't know. It's like, I think I'm kind of okay with the discarding Jinx now, right? Are we ever really going to get a Death Rocket this game? Probably not with the Hexcore Foundry on board. I mean, we can do some work in terms of discarding our hand, but that was not going to make it easy. It's like he's killing something. Okay. So with this attack, we're going to hook the 2 aloof travelers into combat. We want him to have to block with Von Yip if he wants to block one of our big Yordles. So man, as this game winds down, did you all in Europe manage to watch Tom Brady today? Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are playing at Wembley Stadium. I don't know how much that means to any of you, but if we're going to talk about football for the rest of the game here, I will say the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are currently my second favorite NFL team. I'm, of course, big favorite for the Kansas City Chiefs, being a Kansas City resident, but I feel like there's 2 things going for the Bucs, right? Tom Brady has like really unleashed his inner memer as soon as he left the Patriots. As soon as he hit the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I think he like talked to the coach and said, "Yo, coach, I want a meme. Can I meme it up on Twitter?" And he says, "Do whatever you want, Tom. Do your thing. Live your best life." And so Tom Brady is one of the premier memers. He's up there with Eli Manning in terms of Twitter games. So that's great. But then more importantly, their offensive coordinator, Byron Leftwich, can you imagine, could you put forth a guess as to where he went to college and played college football? You're right. He played at Marshall University, and he actually has one of the most amazing sports clips of all time. If you can look it up on YouTube, but whenever I look it up on YouTube, it's like somebody recorded the game on their VCR. Like VCR was the tape mechanism of rewatching film content. So it looked like somebody recorded it on their VCR, and then they gave the tape to somebody, and then somebody recorded that tape onto a different tape. And so it's just like 180p quality of this Byron Leftwich moment. But he was playing, I can't remember what game it was, but he broke his leg in the middle of a game and didn't come out. He continued to play that possession of football, and his offensive linemen were picking him up, carrying him down the field, setting him down. He would snap the ball and then pass it, stand there in fucking pain because his leg is broken, and then when the next play was ready to start, the offensive line would pick him up, carry him down the field, and set him back down. Put forth a game-winning drive with a broken leg. Fucking fantastic. One of the biggest moments of college football. And he's the offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And so they have that kind of double whammy factor of goodness. Tom's meme capabilities along with Byron. And so hope y'all got to watch it. I don't watch it. That shit's on at like 8 in the morning out here. I'm not waking up for that, but I hope you did. I hope you got your taste of the NFL, and it was delicious. That shit's wild. You never know how much like the numbers are kind of just like inflated to make you sound good or whatever, but they do we ever just give up our Flame Chompers? Like, I want to get this Pale Cascade through the turn. It's probably not really worthwhile, though. Well, maybe it is. If we're going to look at this, if we want... We're on the odd attack, so we can't get, like, a turn 6 Winding Light. He's going to be a turn 7 anyways. So next turn... Let's bank 2 and just go for an Aphelios. Okay, but it's like, I think Wembley Stadium holds like 67,000 people or 80,000 people or something, and then they had like 3 million requests for tickets. That is insane. I don't think football is that big in the old Europe. I don't know. It's tough for me to gauge, but if you wanted to go, I hope you got a ticket or whatnot.
The brighter my light, the stronger your shadow.
All right. Feels like we're doing okay in this one. We're just going to go for the big aggro set here, right? We're going to drop the 3 damage onto the Vanguard Sergeant. If he has to spend a combat trick or whatever to protect it, fine, that's absolutely great. That combat trick isn't a unit, and so we're still going to be able to probably get wider than him here. And then coming up on the next turn, we can get the double stun, drop the double stun on a unit, and then send our width in again. Let's play the cheap one. Second Winding Light. Do we ever want to play both Pale Cascade and Double Stun this turn?
We can do this.
Probably not at this point. But the big thing to kind of worry about, it's like I'm eyeballing this space to where we want to bank 1 mana next turn, right? That's still 1 short? Yeah. Okay. At any rate, we're getting the squad in here. I don't think we're ever going to want the Overwhelm. Might need the unit. Send the stun into Vanguard Sergeant. Now we can bring the team. then the interesting thing with the pickup of this Poro Cannon is we were going to need to save 1 mana or 2 mana coming into the Winding Light turn. But now that we picked up Poro Cannon and have the free card, we're not going to have to do that. So next turn, we're going to have 6 real mana, 1 spell. So we can play the Fan Club President and still drop the expensive spell for the turn. And then on our follow-up turn, we can burst Poro Cannon and drop Winding Light, hopefully for the big victory. So what do we got here? Cosmic Binding for the stun. Or do we want the recall? The recall is just going to be better than the stun. Or even float and stuff? Phew. Not used to playing these cheesy cards like Fan Club President and just getting free bounce spells. Don't mind if I do, though. LOL. What a joke these things are. No wonder people had so much fun playing Fan Club Presidents, because this shit's just absurd. Alright, discard the Dredger. Add in the Winding Light. And we should be good from here. Opponent could have something weird like Judgment. I guess you could have a second copy of Garen in hand. Maybe we should have just sent Garen back to his hand so we didn't have to worry about weird shit like Judgment, but uh-oh. We can technically still get out of this since we have 5 damage of burn in hand. And so let's see if he gets to make the highlight reel play here. Let's see if he gets that big Garen showstopper in the Judgment. And then if he does, okay, we'll next turn. Ah, there it is. We should have sent Garen back to his hand, right? Should have sent Garen back. But we got the burn in hand. There's a good learning moment for you, right? How do we ever lose this one? Well, I guess Judgment. Good stuff. All right. Well, he made his big play. This is going to be one of those highest of highs, lowest of lows moments, right? You get your big Judgment, you shut down the Winding Light play, and then your opponent just goes, F you, here's some burn spells. Womp womp. All right, let's do it. The actual proper way to have done this would have been to put a Poro or something on the board. They shouldn't have any heal, but he has exactly 12 here, and so we probably should have put a unit on board and then tried for the burn and combat, and then if we needed to go to the next turn for whatever reason, we would have still had 3 Daring Poros with a Winding Light, and so there were some definite better ways to go about that, but whatever. Here's that top-notch analysis you're about to get. You just go, yeah, whatever. All right, what do we have with this within this crew? Ezreal Seraphine, I think, is okay. I do worry about Seraphine, given that we're playing this just gigantic package of 1 health units, right? And so she is exceptionally good here. And I think if this was a lineup to where you would say see Vayne instead of Veigar Nora, then I would just snap ban this Seraphine. She is extremely good against our deck, but the entirety of the game plan of all of these Nora Veigar decks just shuts down everything that we're doing. And so I don't think either of these matchups is particularly good. I think we're definitely at a disadvantage against both Seraphine and the Nora deck. I just think the Nora deck is much worse for the majority of our lineup. Now, coming into these, I'm going to lead off with the Jinx deck again. I'm curious if opponent starts off with Seraphine. Ooh, Seraphine matchup, it's just not good for either of these, but I think I'm a little bit happier about the Jinx matchup into Seraphine, given that like the core of our deck doesn't die to Mystic Shot. But here, against Sion Rumble, we probably just need to get on board as fast as we can. Alright, Urshan, get your friends on board. Rumble, though, not nearly as scary as you would see in like the Vayne decks, right? It's not to say that Rumble isn't scary. He can definitely still pull off some big high-powered plays that we aren't really well equipped to stop. But it's much harder for him to here have overwhelm, and it's harder for him to attack a bunch of times. And so if we're out here just like throwing dudes in front of Rumble, we're losing dudes, right? But he's typically not winning those combats. Ooh, that's the draw of the day right there. All right. Of course, not the most ideal. We would like to win those combats where we're getting our big plays out of the 4/4 challenger, but if it keeps the opponent's board empty, I think that we're still just reasonably okay with it. Now, coming into this next turn, oh, he's going big. He's got the parts of Palooza here. He didn't hit fucking lifesteal, did he? No, he did manage to hit overwhelm. That's quite good, but no lifesteal. And so I'm thinking next turn, if we have 6 mana, we can both Rummage and Biggle Dust. I think that's where we want to be in this world. We're going to be pretty close to lethal here. Alright, so Rummage. Hope he's seen 2 of these. Discard the ones with the eyeballs on them. Then we want to Biggle Dust. Is that lethal? Looks like a lethal. Now we have the choice to either... I don't think we want to go for it like that. Let's just try and take down the Rumble. We have the Mystic Shot in hand. And so if he still has like a removal for one of these Boom Baboons or something, we can still take him down with the burn spells. But if it goes as planned here, we can just Mystic Shot next turn, and then we take away his big way to win and Rumble, right? And so the idea with that is even if we don't get the lethal, if he doesn't have Rumble, he's going to have an extremely challenging time winning this game. To where if he does have the Rumble on board, he's still got a shot. And so I want him to have to make the decision, do I want to protect my Rumble or do I want to protect my health? And that, you know, kind of split action on the cards should make it more challenging for him to actually get a win the next turn. It's kind of like one of those deals as to where you can take like the really polarized play to where I either win right now or I just never win, or you can take the probably safer route. We went the safer one. All right, but up against the same deck, the Sion Rumble. I'll hold on to the Fallen Rider, see if we can't find a discard to go with it. Okay, good start. Good start. Hope that was mud. You got the best emotes in the game, Blade Squire. I love what you're working with. All right, let's prevent the damage. I don't super like this. I don't usually like putting the items into their hand, but Rumble has so much just big damage power. I think just keeping our life total healthy is more important.
Join the hunters, they said. Wish I had a bit more patience back then.
Alright, not dropping Draven. He's got his Rune Squire on the board. Keep him in hand. Looks like we should be able to start just making like value plays now. I don't know, he's got a ton of cards in hand, but a lot of those ton of cards are fragments. I was gonna say we're probably still just playing Draven this turn, but I might want to Spinning Axe in this combat, and so let's discard the Revenant first and see what turns up. Now, as we're getting through here, he does have this like value block of the Mecha Forcer onto the Urchin. I'm okay with that. We need to be punching damage in. This guy is going to explode bigger than we're able to. And so if we can just punch in this extra damage, we already have 6 burn in hand. We just need to get, a little bit more damage lined up. And this is a space to where it's like, okay, well, we have 6 burn. We have a potential 2 from the Poros. We have 1 or 2 from the Spinning Axes. It starts to really build up.
Locked and loaded.
Discards 2 fragments and a Sion. I got to stop and think. It's like, do we ever want to flip the Draven here? put the Draven in front of the Mecha Forcer? I don't think so. I think we're reasonably set up to get some width here and go all in. But it was a consideration. Ooh, whispered words. That doesn't add units to the board. All right, load them up. This looks like a whirling death, but I'm okay with that.
Let's do this.
Ooh, really? It's been such a strange game. We'll take it. Ask me, Bust, will you take that? Yes. Yes, I will. GG. So as we're out here playing the Gauntlets in the best of 3, I'll mention it again. I put out a response to the dev feedback thing. I'd love to see some of the, I don't want to see, well, I guess I do want to see. I'd love to hear what some of the devs' thoughts are on the upcoming stuff. It sounds like they're really kind of exploring the space of expanding on Gauntlets to be kind of like a permanent tournament fixture. That's what it seems like to me. Is if you look at, say, like Magic Online, there's the concept of leagues to where you play 5 matches, and if you get rewards based on your points, there's, of course, Arena and Hearthstone, and then the setup currently of Gauntlet and the setup that Expedition had, Expedition being a little bit longer than the Gauntlets. But it sounds like they're looking to add that kind of tournament structure thing to the game. And then it seems like kind of swap Gauntlet back to what it used to be, to where it was just kind of a limited time event with a weird formatty thing kind of attached to it. But they got this whole tournament tab on here. Just put a tournament on it. My stance on it is that if what I think they should do, and I think what they do poorly right now, are that the seasonal tournaments and more so Worlds are an advertisement, right? The Magic Pro Tour was never a thing for the players. It wasn't, hey, live the life. You can be a professional nerd playing this card game. They used that messaging for a little bit, but they moved away from it. It's a big advertisement, right? It gets you 2 things, at least in the terms of Magic. It gets eyeballs onto the game, and so the Kotakus or whoever of the worlds that are writing gaming-related articles, you get to say, wow, here is the $200,000 Magic the Gathering World Championship. Here's an article about it. People get to see that exists, and it's an advertisement, right? But it also, at least in Magic, kind of helped elevate the grassroots level, right? The bottom piece of that pyramid would have been like a Friday Night Magic. After that, you used to have some kind of like city or regional championships. After that, you used to have Grand Prix. That was a big regional tournament with big cash prizes. And then you had the Pro Tour. And so the second kind of advertisement was the dream for these people at the bottom of the pyramid that they could rise up and potentially play in one of these prestigious events. And the thing, though, what these are tying into and where this kind of tangent is going is they always tied into a set's release. And so a new set would come out. 2 weeks later, you would have a Pro Tour. A new set would come out. 2 weeks later, you'd have a Pro Tour. And so not only did you get that Kotaku level of advertisement, not only did you get that grassroots level of player being interested in elevating their game, but it also kind of tangentially advertised the release of the set and hopefully helped boost sales or whatnot as people now flock to the meta sites to see what the big decks are. You would be purchasing up those cards that were big at the Pro Tour, or in that sense, people were buying more packs to get the cards, or the big exciting deck was coming out of that Pro Tour event. And so it was all kind of tied together. And so Riot has kind of moved to being a bit closer, right? You have the Darkened Saga Seasonals Tournament, you have the World Walker Seasonal Tournament, whatever. But it feels kind of like loosely affiliated. But I think that they're working on that and getting towards it. But I thought it would be nice if also they tied the big patch into it. And so you get into this like really strong cadence, this really big hype cycle of a set release comes out. That's a big moment of hype, and then it starts to die down. And then 2 weeks later, you have the seasonal tournament. The hype gets to pick back up again, and then it starts to die back down. As it's starting to die back down, you have the big patch that comes out, right? The hype is big again, and then it starts to die down. And then 2 weeks later, after the big patch, you have the off-seasonal tournament, right? The big Grand Prix event, and the hype is back up. And so it's not like you're spending 5 months or whatever it is between the last seasonal tournament and the next one, right? There is the spikes for the set release. There'll be a spike for Worlds, but there's big gaps of nothingness in there. And I think that at kind of the top level, that would be a nice thing in those tournaments, is kind of creating more of these big hype events, and then using the gauntlets as the kind of lower level daily. I want to play a competitive event. I want to do something competitive that doesn't grind the ladder style thing. But we'll see. Intern, run it up the flagpole, all right? Go tell him. But all right, so up to battle here, we have Lurkers, Kaisa, and Maokai Zed Hecarim. And I think these are all okay. I don't think I'm too upset about the Lurkers matchup. Maybe it's not that awesome. Depends on how our early interactivity is going to go. But the one that really strikes me is maybe worrisome is just going to be Kaisa. I think Kaisa is the one that we want to drop down. I see a Zed deck, and I'm just kind of like, well, okay, we could hopefully Mystic Shot off the Zed and then just have enough blockers for what you're doing. I think that's going to be okay. It's just the big board control elements out of the Kaisa deck are the one that kind of worries me the most here. And so then coming out of these, I think it's reasonable to just start with the Aphelios. It's like, I don't think it's stronger than Draven, but I know it's the one that I feel worse playing. And so I think if we have to take 2 shots, I usually like to just go with the better deck, but I think this is okay. All right, well, we got some dudes on board. We can definitely flood. Got to see if we can't stall until turn 7. The typical big thing that you're looking to do against Lurkers is make it so they can't attack. And so we don't have any 1 damage removal spells here, but if you can kill one of these units, oh, this trade is horrible. This is horrible, horrible, horrible trade. All right, because what would be the best thing for us is he plays a 2-cost unit here, right? And then we Mystic Shot it. And then he doesn't even have the opportunity to try and hit a Lurk. I know this is just a blind Lurk right here. He's going to hit it, of course. Surprised he didn't hit a Rek'Sai, but that's just such a huge shutdown to the entirety of their game plan if they aren't able to even attempt to hit those Lurks.
Only a fool would enter battle unprepared.
All right, let a dude. He's got the swarm. Missed his lurk.
Down.
At least we get some positivity out of it. Coming out of here, I think I want the Celestial Impact. It's a way to actually come in and kill a Rek'Sai. Because otherwise, our hand is pretty awkward. We really need to find a cycle.
Gently, gently.
Where you at, Flame Chompers? Gotta physically drop this one.
Watch your head. Steady now.
There it goes. All right, Reg, get in here and do some blocking for us.
Watch your toes.
All right, Aphelios on board. He'll let us do some magic here. Don't have to worry about Rek'Sai on the next turn. She's not going to have enough stats to flip, and so I'm looking to just drop the Aphelios. Can generate a 3 damage weapon. Should start getting pretty big shutdowns. Next turn, we can look to put double stun on whatever big unit he plays. Hopefully that'll buy us enough time to get some of these bigger plays on board. And as it stands, we could just block, right? He's nowhere near 8 power. Maybe that's the way to go about it. Then we can start trying to get the value out of these fan club presidents. We care about Dunebreaker. This is one that can actually do damage this turn. I'm going to say no. So what do we got? Another good collection of spells. I don't think the Withering Mists will ever pop off. Let's just pick the stun.
Line for tickets too?
All right, none of our big boys. A little bit unfortunate. We're going to have to start casting some of this stuff. Again, I want to save the Celestial thing for Rek'Sai, but maybe that's not the way to do it. Maybe, what if we just say drop the Dunebringer, or the Dustbringer, Celestial Impact out the Zerzerath before it's able to pop off, and then we can try and stun through the next turn. We just need like one of our... okay. Okay. We just need like a way to pop off with the Give It All, and we're hoping we can do that on our next turn. Sure. This is bad. Such a really awkward draw. It's like we know he has Rek'Sai. We get to stun her with the Event Horizon, but this is still pretty horrible. I want to do it before the combat so she doesn't get to do the +1 to everyone. It keeps her from flipping, and so you don't get all the extra units in your hand either. And then if he magically misses his lurk this turn, we got a shot to... we just dead anyways? Yeah, we got a shot though. Oh, we did that backwards. We should have hit her with Gravitum. Oh, that one's on me. We can't bitch about this game anymore. We should have hit Rek'Sai with Gravitum. That would have shut her down. You see how sick this would have been if she wouldn't have been able to attack, and then we would have had the stun on another unit. Just threw this one away. Oh shit, we even we double threw it away. We picked up the Mystic Shot there at the end. We could have Mystic Shot the other unit off the board. Oh my gosh, we're losing it today. We gotta tighten it up, Bust. Get your shit together. Get your shit together. You're not winning any games like that. Ugh. that was gross. We were given a lot of opportunities to get ahead in that one and just punted them right down the field. That's okay. We'll tighten up. It's still taking me a bit of time to knock the rust off and get my feet back into the mix here. It's been kind of a brutal previous set. I was really not interested in playing that Seraphine meta, and it's kind of taken me a bit of time to get back into the competitive mindset. All right, though, on against the Zed deck. He's only playing 2 copies of Zed, not 3, which is kind of odd to me, but we do have the get excited should Zed turn up. All right, all the baboons and stuff. All right, let's get these attacks in. We got plenty of flame chompers to throw away here, and so I just want to punch in the damage where we can. You could make the argument that you want to keep them behind so that you can block some of the ephemerals and just try to grind them out of cards, but I don't think I'm really on board with that. Right, so we can say use the flame chompers to block the shark chariot just to prevent the damage. I think we'll take this one, right? Because one of the big problems we will run into is just having the big Hecarim, and you know we can't stop all of his trample damage and everything. So he has the potential to be mean. Ooh, Hexbliterator though, that's an answer to old Hecarim. Interesting. Yeah, it's the Glenkeeper with no Nightfall. Right, friend. Well, you're free to block somewhere. All right, Hecarim cost 6. I had to go back and double check. It's been a hot minute since I've cast a Hecarim. I had to make sure he's not able to drop him next turn when we have this Hexbliterator ready, but I think we're okay. See if he's able to drop an ephemeral here. Got that shark chariot in the graveyard, ready to come back. All right, he's definitely got one. There's an ephemeral right there. I can see it.
What we do is so much bigger than us both.
Just gonna pass and see what happens. We could look to, we could look to just pop the stagehand, but if our spell fails, then we are just like so far behind. But with this, I think we're okay to just get excited the Glenkeeper. Where are you at, Flame Chompers? And then see if we can't win next turn. It's going to be close. It's a lot tougher without the get excited, but he's going to be pretty heavily invested after this. Oh, shit. We should have blocked the stagehand. All right, let's see what turns up. Hail Cascade. Not quite what I was looking for. For the rest of the game, when you Blade Dance, summon another Blade Dance 1. Does that get us a lethal? I don't think so. I think the Storm of Blades is a little bit short. It is kind of interesting seeing the Deep Meditation. If we want to just try and pick up burn spells, that could potentially be a thing. I don't think the Defiant Dance or the Storm of Blades really do enough here, though. This would be so much better if we were at 3. If we were at 3 and didn't have to worry about just dying to the Shadow Apprentice, that would be better. Interesting. So we have to block all of this. Shark Chariot as well, yeah. Okay. It would feel so much better if we flowed next turn and we're able to play Deep Meditation for free. Whew.
Melodies to rouse hearts and steady hands.
Alright, well he's tapped a little bit low in mana. There is a chance, if depending on what he adds, that we can shut down everything. Damn. The double ephemeral is too much. Can't kill both of them. Because he's going to have the Shark Chariot coming back, right? Alright, GG. That one's on us. I don't think we would have been able to win that that Lurkers game, but we certainly played it poorly. And that was a tough one here at the end. But nonetheless, I had fun. That was a good set of matches, a good set of games. GG to opponent. Congratulations on your victory. And how do we feel about these decks in general? And I think that I'm not the hugest fan of the Boom Baboon. Now, that might be a bit off. It's like I'm not the biggest fan of Viktor Aphelios. This is the style of deck that we've never been particularly strong with. And I don't think that this really like picks up enough in terms of this deck being good, adding in something like Fan Club President. It doesn't feel like what the deck was missing. And so, at least in my opinion, the big kind of loss to this deck was the Winding Light getting the nerf to itself to where it no longer has Overwhelm. And I don't think this deck has done anything to add over the past like 5 or 6 sets. And so I'm trying to think if that would have been, you could look, I guess Seraphine would be the addition to be looking for here. That's probably like the safe bet in saying what this deck has moved into. It's just playing Viktor Seraphine and then using the back alley bar. And so I'm not the biggest fan of this here. I don't really like the Boom Baboon package if you're not able to really take big advantage of the Flame Chompers, and this deck doesn't do that. And so I don't think the triple Boom Baboon package is good in the term of using Viktor Aphelios. I think it's still okay with Draven v Sion. I don't have like a big enough grasp on the meta right now to know how much I love this. Again, it's like it's a bit awkward for me because I didn't really try hard over the past month, and so this deck was just not particularly good in the past month. It doesn't really like being in a Mystic Shot meta, right? If you're trying to play Draven with his 2 health, if your biggest play of the game is the making this curve of turn 1 something, be it a Poro Cannon or a Zonite Urchin, discarding the Fallen Rider on 2, Draven on 3, and your opponent's able to just go LOL, Mystic Shots, right? That's a big shutdown. You really need to be punching in those early damages for these to be successful. And so I don't know quite at the moment if the meta is going to shape up to where these fit in. I think the Seraphine nerf is kind of overstated. I think she's still much better than she's being given credit for. And so I wouldn't be surprised to see Seraphine make another like real resurgence after Worlds, and this deck would completely fall off there. And so, again, if Seraphine's not running around in full force, this can be good. This is one of the burn decks that I'm really excited to play, but again, this is a more meta-dependent one. And then the one that makes me really interested here is just the Lulu Jinx deck. And again, is this the question I think you have to ask with this one is this the best deck that you can be playing Jinx in? Right? Is the Lulu Jinx the answer, or would you rather be playing Draven? And I think I'm much closer to Lulu Jinx being a deck I like as opposed to the discard Draven version. At least I think the people that are kind of running the decks with discard Draven right now, they're playing like arena battlecasters and jury rigs and everything. And I do concede, I do admit, these are fantastic things to be doing on like day 1, day 2 of the meta. Just putting together the absolutely most aggressive deck that you can, and then just annihilating everyone's untuned decks. But I think as we get towards later in the week and into next week, if we're looking to play Draven Jinx, it's going to be more like the list we played, which doesn't play Jury Rig, doesn't play Arena Battlecaster, has a bit more reach to it and a bit more just mid-game strength. And so I think maybe our version of Discard Draven might be the way to go, but it doesn't, again, solve that Mystic Shot problem as to where, well, what if the big decks of the format are going to be some Jinx deck, right? Some Jinx deck sporting Mystic Shots and some Seraphine deck sporting Mystic Shots. And then in that event, you're back to that same problem that we had with Draven, Sion, Vi, right? As to where your big plays get shut down by Mystic Shot. Everyone's playing Mystic Shot. Are you really playing a good deck? Probably not. And so that's at least what gives me some interest and some desire to play something like Lulu Jinx, in that your big and key plays are with bigger units, right? You have the fix 'em uppers on turn 2, which can survive a Mystic Shot. Your units get spread about with a bit more width. You're doing these plays to where your Poro Cannons get boosted by Lulu, or they get boosted by Yordle Captain. And if you have one of your Poros get shot down by Mystic Shot, you don't really care, right? And then it's a lot more challenging for opponent to deal with the 4/4 Flame Chompers and stuff. And so I think something like Lulu Jinx, while I don't have the capacity to just say this is the best Jinx deck in the format right now, I think it's better than all the Jinx decks we've played, and I think it's better than Jinx Bard. And so is there a better Jinx deck out there? Maybe, sure, I'll give you that. But given the amount of knowledge and the decks that I'm aware of right now, I think that this is probably the way to go in terms of your Jinx deck. And I think you probably should not be playing a full Boom Baboon package. I did the testing here, so you didn't have to. I don't think this is a great way to approach the format. And so, good stuff. Good stuff. I had fun with that one. I hope you had fun too, because that is going to do it for us today. And so I hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.